We had some things go wrong. Stream is starting a little bit later than we wanted it to, but we are here. We are doing it, and we are ready to rock. This is...
Okay, so to start off, we're going to kind of do the same thing we did last time, which is when you're doing an introduction, it's always good to let people know what it is. Now, obviously, because I'm on this VOD, I can see that it's Style Esports, but I have no idea who these teams are. In fact, the team on the left-hand side, we don't even have a name for it. So if you're going to do an intro, I understand apologizing for delays and things. That happens. It does happen. I'm not going to, chide people for that. But the main thing is that what you want to do when you're doing an introduction is welcome people and then tell them what it is. Again, I go back to LCS Dash. He usually starts things off with hello and welcome to the LCS week number 2. I am Dash and blah blah blah. So one of the things that you're doing, and we're probably going to repeat this a bunch of times, so that's fine, is you're telling them what it is they're watching. Welcome to the LCS analyst desk. I'm Dash, and with me is X, Y, and Z. And we are here for these teams that are happening right now, and this is the reason why. So it gives your viewers what to connect to. So very simply, starting off with, welcome, Style Esports. I'm whoever. Today we've got ourselves this team versus this team. Today I'm joined by so-and-so, and we want to thank you all for your patience as we get ready. There has been a small technical issue, and that delay has caused us to be a little bit later than usual. That's totally fine, but just welcome people with reason. So we're going to keep going.
Style Esports Season 3. This will be the first game, the first broadcast of the new season, and it'll be brought to you by myself, Mr. Baymax, and of course my esteemed color caster for tonight, Mr. Axeman 87. How are you doing, Axeman?
I'm doing just fine. Yeah, we got a whole
So
new
this must be
format
Rogue
for this
Panda
season,
and
Sports has never been bigger. I think we got like
Axeman
32 teams or something like that. It's a lot of teams, Max.
Wait a minute. Whoa! Make my ears bleed. Make my ears bleed. I gotta double check this now. It's a grand final. System of error. It's actually first game season 3. Oh, game starts around 4. Oh no, yeah, game starts around 4 minutes. I'm Baymax. Yeah, you are. Okay,
the
cool.
new format, because some things have changed around a little bit. So moving into season 3, we are going to have 5 different divisions.
Okay, so this is just producer error. He probably should have told you guys to be quiet while this is going on. This is kind of like a transition intro with hype video and stuff, and you don't need to be talking during this. It's not your fault that the producer didn't inform you of what's going on.
Separated by average rank in league. So the top divisions from the top down are
because like I didn't get any of what it is. There's a new format, something top down, something.
Ionia, Piltover, Freljord, and the Void. It's single round robin style, so each team is going to play each other team, and then once all the games are played in the divisions, we will move on to the playoffs, where the top teams in each division.
Explanation. So like this is totally fine. It's strengthened again, producer-wise, if you have a graphic.
So
any type of graphic that you have that can support whatever the casters are saying is really good, even if it's like a Battle 5 bracket. Any kind of bracket would be helpful.
I don't want to say the bottom
that's fine.
Tier group, but for now, it's the.
Oh, we're gonna jump forward.
One of the most interesting things about the new format and how it is right now with the relegation
Hi, Axeman.
and promotion and stuff like that is that we just kind of base these divisions off the average solo queue rank of the team. Which, as we know, Baymax is not always indicative of how good a competitive team is, right? So while these teams are in technically the last division, it's only because they're solo queue ranks, and we've seen...
That's fine.
And like you said, we have top. So, you're 100% right. Rank doesn't always mean anything, but you got to go off something, right? So rank is at least a rough indicator. We are moving into Champ Select, and like you said, we have a lot of new teams.
That just transition needs to be turned down a little bit. That boom is a little loud.
That we are going to be watching tonight are new teams. They have recently joined the org in Season 3, so cannot wait to see what they end up bringing to the table here. Team Black Blossom again on blue side. Team Wood Forever on red side.
Okay, so I don't know if it was introduced before then, but if I didn't catch it before, this is the first time we're actually getting the teams when we're already like loading in. So just again, introduce the teams really early on.
Bans
so
are coming out, picks are about to start.
Obviously, producer-wise, having the team names on picks and bans would be really nice. Axeman? Okay, that's pretty
we're
cute.
gonna see some different picks, right? I mean,
It's like Axeman,
pretty
but
obvious that
Axeman.
throughout different elos, there's different metas. And here, now that we're in like a lower elo than we're used to, there's a different meta, right? In solo queue, but also in competitive. So we'll be seeing a lot of champions that I think are easier to execute. A lot of champions that have very hard and set mechanics or win conditions. Not as many Azirs or Corkis. Not as many high skill cap champions.
That's fine. We're gonna skip forward a little bit.
Oh, I actually love the Galio here. I'll tell you why, right? One, Galio is, again, really strong. One of those champions. In fact, every champion on Black Blossom is really strong right now.
See, it's
except for
almost
maybe
impossible
Narnar
from
is
a
only sort of
visual
kinda strong.
perspective, from a
But
viewer, to know that
Misfortune,
that's
Bard,
Black
Galio, King,
Blossom.
these are all crazy power picks, really in the meta. So the draft coming through from Black Blossom in a lot of ways, very, very strong. The Galio specifically is good, one, against magic damage, so good against Haley in lane, like you were saying. Two, very good against dive, very good at protecting carries, like Curious Veil, like Misfortune or Bard, or sort of backline champions. And when,
Good analysis.
right now, Team Wood Forever, they've drafted so much dive, right? They are going forward. They have Group
Wukong, Leona, Malphite.
Wukong, Exo
Yeah.
Sync on
It's
Malphite.
a
These
hard
champions are
5-man
diving.
comp.
So having that hero's entrance there,
You
is a
can
safety
pick
net
with
to
it,
help
but
keep
it's
Curious
much
Veil
better
protected.
when you wombo combo.
That
You
could
bring
end
just
up being
everyone to the
really,
party,
really
and
massive.
everyone
Also
kills
the
each other.
magic damage shield, right?
The-
Now
the-
that
the
Galio
team.
gets that Shield of Durant and magic damage shield to everybody in his ultimate AoE when he ults, that
All right,
is gonna
the
do a
point's
lot to
being drug
mitigate
on a
some of the
little
burst
bit
damage,
long.
potentially.
Like, I want to back up here real quick.
Two is really strong right now, except for maybe Narnar. I'll tell you why, right? One, Galio is
Okay,
again really
so he
strong,
starts
one of those
here,
champions. In fact,
20
crazy
whole
power
seconds,
picks, really in the meta.
then
Two, forever, they
he's still
drafted there
talking.
as a safe to everybody.
I definitely, if you can.
A whole minute of
negate
ice.
the
That's
damage from
literally
ability to,
a
like,
minute
pop
and
blossom
20
from
seconds
Haley, that
of
would be
one
huge just
point
team
about
fight, right?
Galio
And that
being
just kinda,
strong
like,
against
gives you a
dive.
little window
That's
into,
a little
Black
unnecessarily long.
Blossom's kinda
You know,
team
make your
fight
point. That's
potential
fine.
here.
It's a
I mean,
really good
you got
point.
a
It's a
lot of
solid
team
point,
fight,
but you don't
right?
need to go on for literally a
Misfortune,
minute.
Galio,
So every caster's
Gnar as
guilty of
well
it.
is
Don't
a
feel
great
bad.
Team fight ultimate if you can use it correctly and time that Mega Gnar form correctly. Yeah, they do have a really, really good team fight. It's maybe a little bit harder to pull off. I mean, Galio ult isn't really.
This is analysis on the go.
A surefire thing. It's not super reliable. You have to ult onto your allies, of course. Gnar as well, as I mentioned. You need to have to aim fight
Wrong.
for ability that you're on.
Back up
the,
here. I want to see, because
um,
Axeman comes
team
in like
fight.
at
Through
the
gap
beginning
from
of the
Haley or
minute.
even from sync on the Malphite.
Yeah, definitely. If you
So
can
he starts
negate
here,
the damage from kind of
and
twig.
he goes all the
Galio
way.
ult isn't sure that you're on right. You have mouth as well, also very play.
For another minute and 20. So both casters have gone for a
don't-
minute 20
I don't think
each.
you're necessarily wrong, but one concern that I'm seeing from looking at Wood Forever's team comp is that I think Wood Forever
Okay.
have drafted
Also, if you disagree with your caster, that's fine to say. Again, a lot of this is analysis on the go. It can be strengthened by knowing the team comps a little bit stronger, knowing which team should be winning, and those sorts of things a little bit better. But that's fine. If you're going to disagree with your caster or your co-caster, that's totally fine. But things that you can say are things like. I hear your point, and I think it's a good one, but I'm seeing that this is a little bit more important. Or, I can see that. I can see that. Now, I disagree that there's the stronger team, and here's my reasons why. But the main thing is, even if you could be arguably wrong by Twitch chat or whoever, be confident in yourself. It's better to be confident and wrong than to be unconfident and not wrong, because I would rather hear casters make solid points that are at least what they believe to be true, and then come out later and be like, okay, that's actually good. I didn't think about that. It's not as strong of a point. And again, this is also lower elo. This is amateur league. We're practicing. We're trying to improve all these sorts of things, because even if your point is correct, if you're coming across as, well, it seems like maybe there could be, I guess, if you look at it this way, the viewers who might not know anything about it aren't going to know the difference. And so your viewers are going to be kind of lost, and they're going to think that you're wrong because you're inconfident or unconfident in what you're sharing about that. So share your confidence.
That doesn't
Share confidence.
really
All right, we're going to jump forward.
skirmishes. And then Black Blossom.
Like, I want to
serves,
listen, but I also don't want to take the
opposite.
entire
Kane,
game
Kane should look to
all the
play
way through.
around his lanes, around what lanes are doing well. He's going to be looking for Pinna to set him up. He's going to be looking for iTunes to set him up, provide that crowd control, provide the picks. And he just wants to farm and get Rost as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ross is probably good here. I mean, maybe
This is going to be an ADC heavy game.
I think your team is already pretty front loaded.
If I can predict it, whichever ADC gets most fed wins game. Technically, if you're red side, Wukong could, but I really think that Wukong is going to be focusing more as just damage, or we're going to be focusing more as like crowd control and some damage, but it's the Xayah that's actually going to carry the game.
Kane got two buffs. His W slow before he transformed was increased to, I think,
2 buffs in the last
from
patch.
70%
Those things are good.
Which was a pretty significant change. But the bigger change was his Q cooldown got buffed to the point where once you transform into Rost, I think his Q cooldown is about 2 seconds.
Who wins? Red side wins.
With the new Death's Dance,
Cheek 174.
That is a ridiculous amount of tankiness and
absolutely can be.
Keep going.
After that, it can be kind of difficult to really keep somebody within the fighting range. Normally, you just kind of provide damage for a gank, right? And you need somebody else to kind of slow down jungler.
We went straight to being in game.
Wood forever. They probably aren't.
That's fancy. So there's no loading.
For Kane to get some ganks off here in the middle of the game.
What happened? Producer!
Something to keep an eye on is Wood forever. They probably aren't going to have pressure very early on, but that doesn't necessarily mean they can't fight.
That's fine.
Right? Once they hit level 6.
Again, I have no idea who the
ultimate reliant for the most part.
red side is.
iTunes Heroes Entrance, a big cooldown for team fighting.
They got no name.
The
Producer,
pass is huge.
come on,
the
you're better than
fate
this.
is huge. The Gnar is
Okay, this is also something that I highly recommend is when you're getting to actually in-game, even though you've already introduced it, reset. It's a really good time to reset, especially for people that are tuning in, and most importantly for people that are passively listening that don't know that, that are kind of either having a second monitor, have it on their phone over here, aren't really truly watching. It's really good LCS LEC, everyone does it. Once you're loading onto Summoner's Rift, to kind of reset, bring that energy back up, because a lot of the picks and bans has been a little bit on the analysis side, and yeah, I think that this team is strong because of these reasons, and I think that this player and this champion is really strong, and you could hype that up, you could give it a little bit more energy, you absolutely could push that more as an energy. Wow, this Galio, I think, will tear this game up. Kane, once he gets Rost, he should be ganking everywhere. If Kane isn't ganking, blue side probably is going to lose this match. Set the stakes a little bit higher. Keep in mind, this is game 1 of this season. This is the most important time for these teams to showcase their abilities. We need to see what these teams have been practicing. We need to see these teams and their confidence. And this is the best time to play confidently, play aggressively, play like you mean it, because you could lose a ton of games, and that's okay. There's still time because it's the very beginning of the season. So play like you mean it. Come in confidently, play aggressively, look for those dives, go in for those kills, and really show us some solid League of Legends. Already, just with this, I'm not even talking about analyzing the game, and I'm bringing a lot of energy into the cast and into the analysis and into just what I'm talking about right now, because I'm bringing the importance up. And I'm saying that this is really critical for these reasons. Versus I think that the carry for red side probably is going to be the Xayah. If you think about it, she's really going to clean up a lot of these team fights, and I think that she's good at doing a lot of damage when she's hitting people. And I honestly, as long as they can protect her, they're probably going to do a good job of killing her, right? This also comes down to investment. If you as a caster are not personally invested in the game, if you are like, here's another League of Legends game, let's cast it, it's cool, there's this team versus this team, yeah, it's League of Legends, it's fun. If that's your attitude when it comes to the investment of the game, that's what your broadcast is going to come across. But imagine that you are casting instead the World Finals between SKT1 and Cloud9 or something, right? you're going to be invested. Especially as an NA person, you're going to be practically on your toes. If your energy isn't like, I got to stand. And I'm like, hey, Axeman. Hi, Axeman. Okay, and you can go back and listen to the VOD all the way through if you want. That's fine. This should eventually end up on YouTube. The other one is on YouTube. It's just privatized. I need to unprivatize it. Long story short, it's complicated, stupid. Anyway, back to what I was saying. This is what I actually do sometimes. In games, if I don't feel like I'm bringing enough energy, I literally stand up. And I'll cast from here. Because, I'm still kind of showing my mid-torso or whatever. Is because I need to bring more energy. I need to bring more hype. I need to be excited about this game. I need to be invested in this game. I need to really bring my A game. So we're going to stand up. We're going to get that blood pumping. We're going to go for this. And so instead of it, and here we are in game,
Early game.
here it's the early game. Let's see what people are doing. One thing to keep an eye on.
They
It's
probably aren't gonna have
Wood
pressure
Forever.
very early
Hopefully
on, but
they
that
can get
doesn't
some
necessarily mean
pressure.
they can't fight,
Instead,
right?
it's welcome, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Summoner's Rift. Game number 1 for the Style Esports Split. This is going to be an incredible opportunity for these teams to showcase what they've been doing during the off-season, and now they're coming back. These two teams, if you have this information, have played before, and last time that they met, Black Blossom, they were the ones that dominated 2-0 over Forever Wood. They crushed them, and now game 1, here we are. Let's see what they bring to the table. And so you bring a lot more energy because you can also personally be invested in the story of these teams. Especially for me, even if I don't know anything, even if I don't know a single thing about the teams, right? Let's just really quickly do an analysis on this, right? So if I know nothing about these teams, I don't know where their score is, I don't know what these players are or anything, right? I can look across the board and I could say, okay, so Kane's going to be jungling. He's probably going to be trying to hit level 6 so that he can get his Ross buff and then he can do sorts of stuff. So he's going to be a little bit of a slow jungler. Galio really kind of needs to hit level 6. He's mostly going to be wave clearing and chilling up there. Bard is going to be roaming. Probably might actually make something happen. But again, it's a Galio in the mid lane, so going to be a little bit difficult to get some kills. Misfortune is actually going to be really good in the bottom lane. And Nars can potentially solo carry in the top lane. All right, swapping to red side, we have diving Leona, diving Nico, diving Wukong, diving Malphite, and the ADC of Xayah, right? If there was a team that had confidence, red side has the largest gonads ever when it comes to composition. They're going, we're in this, baby. We're gonna kill you all. We're looking for bloodshed. We want to group. We want to kill you. That to me goes, whoa, already red side, they are coming out hot of the gate. They're looking for team fights. Doesn't matter whether it's 1, 2, 3, or all 5 members, they're going to be going in for fighting. We're setting up the story. This is great. The stakes are a little bit difficult to set up because it's game number 1 of an incredibly long season. So there's no like, are they going to get to playoffs stakes? It's more stakes like pride. But you can set your own personal stakes, especially if you know the history of the teams. It's even better. Oh, this team lost. Oh, this team won. Oh, this team that. Oh, this team this. But you can also set your personal stakes for just if you're the team that comes out with this confident of a lineup in your game number 1 with so many divers, they really want to be making a statement. And so I want to see them play that aggressive rather than ending up in a position in which they're behind, they're playing passively, and I don't want to see that thing, that sort of game. So you could set your own stakes based off of compositions, even if you know nothing about the teams whatsoever. So, hello, who's that? Rogue Panda. Welcome. Yeah, feel free to go back into the VOD and listen to all of my amazing analysis previous to
both
right now.
These teams actually are very ultimate reliant for the most part.
Yes,
iTunes,
indeed you
Heroes
are.
Entrance, big cooldown for team fighting. Bullet time, big cooldown.
Big
the
5v5
Umber
fights.
Trespass is huge. The Tempered Fate is huge.
Drakes are going to be
Gnar
massive
is
this
huge,
game.
Right? All these ultimates.
You don't need to list all the ultimates. I know that it's cool, especially if you know all the ultimates. Trust me, I fall into this all the time. If you know all the ultimate names, you're just kind of running off and being like, oh, this one, oh, this one, oh, this one, that's cool. I feel it all the time. You don't need to. You just need to list 2. Maybe tops 3, but just pick like 2 of them and be the Galio Heroes Entrance and the Misfortune Bullet Time. Both of those big AOE team fights. That's super cool.
Are basically required for.
But
Black
yeah,
Blossom to
team
fight
fights
effectively.
around Drake
Same
are
thing for Team Wood
the
Forever, right? They're waiting in the
to
solar flare.
me.
They are waiting
probably one of the highlights of this.
conference
Oh,
room.
we got Best Buy ad in the middle of our game. I love it. But anyway,
classroom.
teamfights around Drakes because both teams have
romantic
lots of big
cafe.
AoEs, especially
You
post
made your
6.
house a home.
And
We're here to help you make it everything else. At your home
I think red
or
team
at our
wins.
curb, delivery and pickup are fast.
said that
free,
earlier,
and
but
safe.
that's fine.
Best Buy's commitment to helping you
Best
hasn't
Buy,
changed.
Best Buy.
Even if
everything is
everything
blue.
else has.
I'm blue, da ba dee da ba die, da ba dee. We're Best Buy. We're blue Best Buy.
On
We're blue
especially the
Buy.
Pop
Yeah, okay.
Blossom and the
Sir
Cyclone
Donald Trump playing
and
now in the top
Unstoppable
lane. I
Force.
like the
There's
suit.
a lot of team.
Very cool. All right, let's go jump forward.
Donald Trump kind of waiting in this bush.
Donald Trump?
Maybe thinking
Playing
he's
League
gonna
of Legends.
catch Sync on
Maybe
a way
that's what he's
back
doing in
from,
office.
from leashing the jungler, but kind of just.
You can make
wasting
jokes
some
about
of
people's
his
names. It's
time. They're
okay.
gonna try and last hit these minions up in the top lane, though.
He's gonna try and last hit the minions in the top lane? What? Shock of all shock. I gotta hear that back again.
Sync on a way back from leashing the jungler, but kind of just wasting some of this time. They're gonna try and last hit these minions up in the top lane, though.
So that's it. That's
We talked about
that's
plays.
just that's filling airtime. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything. Like if you actually just listen here.
Slow. And in my
Obviously,
mind, Team
people
Wood
are
forever
yo.
right now,
that's
they
a
are
little
the
too
team
much
that undoubtedly scales better
unnecessary
in my
info,
mind.
but it's still cute.
So,
it's still cute.
you know,
I
think the
don't know
pressure
that I
in this
need to
game is sort of
comment on
on
that
Team Black
because
Blossom to
I think that
take control of the map relatively
you
early
can do your
and try
analysis.
to
Level
make sure
10
that they're
cringe.
the ones pushing for dragons, pushing for heralds, getting the map opened up. 'Cause
It's
I
so
would
funny.
expect
I
Team
love
Black
it.
Blossom to have pressure in the bot lane, in the mid lane, and probably the top lane as well.
Bot
So
lane, mid
we'll
lane,
see if that
Black
ends up
Blossom
happening, but I
pressure
think
bot lane,
Team
mid
Wood
lane.
Forever
No,
are probably
you kidding me?
they're probably okay with just sort of
Leona
taking the
level
floor, right?
2
Against
should have
Galen
pressure
Zaya
in bot.
is insane. Wukong split
She
push
should be
pressure
looking for
insane
Zenith
also.
Blade on Bard.
So I don't know. What are you thinking about win conditions? here?
Okay, that's a good electric
You know, the
Pinna.
scaling's kind of up in the
That's
air.
actually
but you
pretty
mentioned
good.
the fact that
Ooh.
Black Blossom just is
Yeah,
is
okay, I
stronger
guess
in the
Black
early
Blossom's
game,
bot
right?
has a
And they both
solid
kinda have,
just push on Zai just because of the help
equal-ish
advantage.
team
Alright,
fights
we're gonna keep going
on
forward.
either
Whoop.
side. So if this
Whoa! That totally did not do that.
Black
Everything is
Blossom.
fine.
Yeah, well played on that one. But Astro Illusion might be going down here. It's gonna be pretty
Yeah.
close.
Flash under turret. Curious. Here, Shield of Durant taunt is gonna land.
Oh, I missed this team fight. I'm sorry. Or skirmish.
Good.
Not
She's got
really
the
a team fight.
got their tangle barbs to get her out of trouble. She's just fine.
Ooh!
Skelecrab's traded away though. We might see
Ooh!
Deathboy look for a
Okay,
mid as
okay.
bot lane.
Hold on.
Astro
Hold on.
Illusion is dropped a
Hold
very,
on.
very
You should get way more hype than that. All right? Way more hype than that. This is potentially first blood in the first game ever. Like for this season. This could be first blood for everything, right? How awesome would it be to be the player that claimed first blood in an entire season start? That's super cool, right? So it's not gonna be yeah,
She's good.
okay,
She's
get
good.
away.
She's got the
If I was casting this, it's whoa, hold on, that's huge damage. Oh, the heal comes out last second. Zaya somehow barely surviving. How did she get out of that? Had to burn a summoner spell. Just an amazing poke by Chorus Veil. And then back to the skirmishing in the mid lane.
Land onto this Wukong, forcing the flash from this
See, that's
monk
better.
of a monkey over here.
That's better.
First flash blood going over to Team Black Blossom.
Yeah,
Two
well
tunneled
played
on mid.
that one,
Yep.
but,
Nope. It happens a
Astro
lot.
Illusion might be going down here. It's gonna be pretty
Yeah.
close.
Flash
Okay,
under.
so this is another one for color casters. Is in this situation, especially because it's just jumping out of nowhere. You know, it's just hold on, camera switch to bot lane, and people are dying. If you're the color caster, you have to make a instantaneous split decision. Are you casting it or are you not casting it? And either is fine. Most play-by-plays will probably, unless they're really rude and just have to cast everything, will take the step back if you launch into casting it. So in this,
But Undertaker over to
I know I'm
Team
a
Black
little bit deep on
Blossom.
this, so
Yeah, well played on
yeah,
that one,
well
but,
played on that.
Astro
And
Illusion might
hold
be
on, they're
going
going
down
underneath the
here.
turret. They're flashing.
Should be
They're
pretty
going for the
close.
dive.
Flash under
Zaya,
turret,
she's
Curious
gonna fall.
Veil,
That's
flash,
first
and
blood to
heal coming
blue
out,
team. As a color caster, you can do that. That's okay. It was your turn to speak. There was no reason why you should assume they're going to double flash. No, just one flash. But they're going to flash, heal, dive, bot lane, turret, level 2/3. That's unexpected. It's not expected that you should stop to let your play-by-play take that. So it's okay for you to take that, but you can hype it up. The problem with this is that you do a middle ground. You kind of sit right on that middle ground.
Yeah, well played on that one, but Astro Illusion might be going down here.
So you start off, Astro might be going down here.
It's going to be pretty close.
It's going to be pretty close, and then it's like you're handing it off to your play-by-play caster. It's going to be pretty close, so the play-by-play can then launch into deep dive, blah, blah, blah. Except the problem is that the play's already over. The Zaya's already dead. And so now it's back to the play-by-play, and the play-by-play's now doing the color job of analyzing it. Oh, they flash.
Flash and heal coming out, gonna net first blood over to Pinna. So Team Black.
But that's basically the color's job. And so if you're going to swap, which is totally okay, both sides should be comfortable with doing both sides, just commit to it. Just straight up commit to it and cast the kill. So
Plus, making aggressive trades mid lane and bot lane, but it looks like one is about to be traded back.
I love Axeman, though, that both of the VOD reviews have been focused on the play-by-play caster, and yet you're here, and I comment all the time on you. It's like, oh, analyze the play-by-play caster. Jake only talks about color.
I would have to imagine Quarius Veil's going down. It is Leona, though, so there is some potential for this not to
Miss Fortune's definitely dead.
Oh, there we go.
Pinna,
and Bard's
doing?
dead,
The flash forward. Grooveshark finds one kill, and over the wall goes Deathboy from one bad situation mid lane into a much better situation on the boss side of the map. A double kill for Grooveshark. That's not necessarily who you want that kill go down, but you know what? A 2-for-1 is still a 2-for-1.
Yeah, and I mean, Leona's going to be the front line for their team, so having that extra gold will probably be okay. We'll see if it changes their build path at all.
Leona having gold is super good until about 15 minutes in. Then you want all the gold to go on your carry. But again, Leona only matters or your tanks really only matter when you're actually team fighting. So while they're in the laning phase, that gold really doesn't mean much of anything. So this is that super long Gnar game where we never talked about Gnar until he got a quadra kill. Oh boy.
We'll start to see some fireworks over
except for the fact that Gnar got minions. That you gotta mention the fact that Gnar is gonna be last hitting minions in the top lane. Super important.
Stronger early game dragons.
Super important.
Especially considering
they're so cool.
Toss and shade.
Right. We said Kane had a weaker early game.
Top lane.
Okay, so here's another one.
Team's getting pretty lucky with this one, but I think they. Well.
Okay, so let me back this up here, right? As a color caster, Gnar last hits some minions. Let's back this up here, all right? If you're the color caster and you see the camera swap into the top lane, first of all, you got to keep in mind, the camera again follows who does damage, who receives damage, and then neutral objectives, I believe is the order. But most importantly, who's taking damage and who's dealing damage and who's receiving damage. If the camera's swapping into the top lane right now, right at this moment, it's not going to be just because he's recalling. There's no reason for the camera to swap all the way up here into the top lane just for a recall. It almost never, ever, ever does that. It'll sometimes swap into the base if someone has respawned and will sit on somebody, buying items or something in the base or walking to lane. If there's literally nothing else, like if they're not even farming minions, it'll watch someone walk from one area to another. But watching someone recall is very rare for the camera to do. But even if that doesn't cue you that something's about to happen, the fact that Malphite is stepping all the way up here, right before he flashes, you should already know. There's no reason for Malphite to be stepping this far forward aggressively with level 6 for no reason. So again, hindsight's 2020, and I'm sure that there's a ton of stuff going on. You got to figure all this stuff out at the same time. But again, we're talking about ideal situations. Ideal situations from a caster point is there's something happening up here. Why is it, and what is it that's going on? And then when Malphite steps forward aggressively, he's probably looking for a dive. If that's the case, again, color, you got to make the decision. You're talking right now, I got to do one of two things. Like Frosk, I'll hold it and let my play-by-play come in, and you have to tell your play-by-play that you're holding it. You can't just stop talking, because then your play-by-play is like, am I talking right now or am I not talking? I don't know what's going on. My color just stopped. But something like Frost saying, I'll hold it, or looks like a dive, or wait, what's happening? Or something to initiate, there's a team fight happening, I'm shutting up, you go. Or you just take it. It's totally fine.
Well, it's
Wha-
hard to say. Right?
Whoa!
We said Kane
Malphite
had a
diving
weird
top
early
lane.
game.
I think he's gonna get this.
Top lane
Taking down
unstoppable.
Gnar.
Force onto Donald
Insane.
Trump.
And
Flash
he's
is
gonna
traded
die.
and kills
It's
traded
gonna
by
be
the
a
top
trade.
laners.
Because again, when you drag that out, you
This
listen.
one, Ocean
The
Dragon,
whole
probably
thing
the
doesn't
best
actually get
Ocean
casted.
Dragons, so
The whole
both
the
teams
whole
get
the whole
pretty
dive in
lucky
the
with
top
this
lane
one,
doesn't
but,
actually get casted.
I think they. Well, it's hard to say, right? We said Kane had a weaker early game.
Top lane unstoppable.
You get 1-0 from the play-by-play, and then the play-by-play just comes in as the color and talks about what happened.
Oh.
Force onto Donald Trump. Flash is traded and kills traded by the top laners.
So,
you know,
again, it's totally fine as a color to do play-by-play's job if something surprising happens and you're in the middle of talking, or to shut up and be like, I'll hold it, like Frost does, or but you can't choose the in-between. If you choose an in-between, it's going to be really rough.
that's a one.
If there's a third, or if there's a fourth option, let me know. I'm really curious if there's a
Importantly,
fourth option.
Donald
out
Trump
there.
still has teleport and Sync doesn't, so that might end up impacting this dragon fight.
Yeah, it definitely could. And having a Gnar rain on your
Dragon fights because the jungler is on the bottom side.
Figure out who has
Wukong
priority
is
for
towards
this
the bottom
dragon.
side. Oh, blue
You
side's
know,
definitely got
it's kind
priority.
of easy to say that it's going to be Black Blossom. They have a better early game, but Kane isn't such a good early jungler. Astro.
Well, true. Kane's not an early jungler. He can also walk through the back of it. But they had 4 people on bottom side, including the mid laner, and the Xayah on the enemy teams. Flash and heal is down. The Ignite's down for Leona that will be coming up here shortly. Wukong is not in position to actually fight for the Drake. He's still farming the jungle. So if Black Blossom had immediately pulled their bot lane and just ran 4 people straight for Drake, they absolutely would have had priority
Illusion
on it.
taking a lot of damage here in the bot lane.
Yeah,
Dude, that
look
was
at this-
fine.
Look at this bot side map. If you want to know who's got pressure for this dragon, you look to the bot lane. You see the CS deficit in favor of Curious Veil.
There's a
51
pattern
CS
here.
on Misfortune and a kill from a sneaky double up onto Astrolution. If he thought
See,
he was
that's
out
fine.
of that one,
This
he
game
was not.
has a
Now,
lot
you're
of
right.
surprises,
Death Boy
a lot of like
does have more pressure
unexpected
as a champion
events
early
that
on
happen.
than Undertaker, but
and that's okay.
You know, with bot lane pressure
Jake too
like
savage?
that, I think
Nah, I'm not
Black
savage
Blossom
enough.
can definitely take this dragon if
Too
they
nice.
want it.
Yeah,
I'm
it
getting
looks
pinged
like
by
they're
like everyone.
looking for
You can
Death
probably hear
Boy's
that.
blue buff as well, and
They're looking for
probably
Death
gonna
Boy.
get it.
Screw the blue buff. Magical Journey over the wall. Death Boy running for his life. Haley is there to peel for her jungler and get him out of that one safely. So looks like most likely not going to be any kills getting picked up for Black Blossom this time around. But you know what? They don't need the kill. They got the pressure. They got the dragon.
Yep.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be picking up this dragon. I mean, Death Team Black.
All right, we're gonna fast
River
forward
here,
a little
top
bit.
side. Look who's roomed up. It's Groove Shark moving with Death Boy. Team Black Blossom may have gotten the dragon.
Donald Trump's
but
just way out of
Donald Trump,
position.
he is going to die. Pay with it for
Yep,
his
super
life.
caught
And now,
out.
with Groove Shark on top side of the map, this looks like it's a Herald attempt for Team Wood Forever.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm trading
here's
back to
something
Herald is just kinda
to
clap.
talk about, right? All right. We are at 8 minutes into the game. Axeman Slayer says, yeah, there's a little bit of word slurring on both sides, both play-by-play and color. You can sharpen them up a little bit, but it wasn't so bad that I was going to call it out. But from a narrative perspective, all right, you have the diving comp of Leona, Nico, Wukong, Malphite. They're all post 6, except for bottom lane, but they're very close to 6. In theory, they are about to just start popping off on team fights and exploding things, but their lanes are really, really, really poor shape. Most importantly,
Classic
look
way
at
to
bottom lane.
stay
The
in the game after
Misfortune
you've lost dragon,
has
right? So this is gonna be a good
62
step
farm
forward for them.
to
They're not
33!
really even behind in gold.
The Xayah's only got
About
33!
400 gold, something
This
like
is
that, but
an
that's mostly
absolute
because they have 3 members hitting, and
demolished
that's
bottom
right.
lane.
It's not actively
Red
giving
side's
them
bottom
gold,
is
so,
out of the game for
it's
another
all
like
back
8
up
minutes,
after that,
right?
after
The
this
gold
finish
may
with
be
that,
even between the
yeah,
two
they can drop
teams.
this on
The
a
kills
play
may be in
date.
favor
They'll
of red team.
Practically, they'll
But
be ahead,
when you look at across the board at
I
the
think,
overall
but,
lineup, Kane's ahead. And
we'll see how that plays out from their teleport channel,
minimize that. I
so
wanted to
no.
pause it. Kane's ahead by 10 CS. Technically, Wukong kind of matches it with a first blood, but Kane's been the one who's been more actively making plays, like going for the Drake and invading the enemy team jungler, that sort of stuff. Even just the Rift Herald that they went and just grabbed. The Wukong actually picked it up. I'm not paying attention because I'm just looking at the gold graph. it's just the bottom side has smashed so hard from blue side that honestly at this point I say blue side wins the game right now. Just from looking at overall where they can go from here. And narrative wise, another big thing is that the Leona freak out distracting me. The Bard has not roamed. How many times has Bard left the bottom lane? Hardly at all. The reason, even though he should be a roaming Bard, the reason is that he wants to get this misfortune ahead. And, as I said at the picks and bans, ganking a Galio, not going to do any good because it's Galio. He might bring a little bit of damage, but again, early game, he's got a Doran's Ring, that's it. There's no real reason to go mid lane again. It's not like a Cassidon or a Syndra or a Cassiopeia that's actually going to carry through AP damage. It's not that big of a deal. Kane's in the jungle, so you're not exactly going to get him super fed unless he goes assassin mode, which I suppose a assassin Kane plus Bard could do some stuff in lanes. You could maybe bring everyone together for a mid play or something. Maybe that could work. And then roaming to the top lane is incredibly hard on Bard, so that's unlikely as well. So Bard just sits in bottom lane, and that's part of the reason why this misfortune is so far ahead. And I think that from a pick and ban perspective, it's really good. Oh, they got this in the bag. Wait, Bard?
Maybe not here. Just some more.
Wow! Just barely. That's a huge play that should have been casted.
Turns into a fight.
Okay, so this is actually on the play-by-play. This is entirely on the play-by-play. This is not on Axeman. Because that was a great intro.
I think, but
listen to Axeman.
We'll see how that plays out for him there. Teleport channel from Sir Donald Trump. We'll see if this...
Oh, he's actually talking about top lane. Teleport from Sir Donald Trump. We'll see if that turns into a fight. But either way, he kind of you kind of wrapped up. It drug a little bit. We'll see if that turns into a fight. It kind of drug and got quiet instead of crispy. Again, talk a little about crispy. We'll see if that turns into a fight. Or could be a fight, play bot lane, or tempered fate, or any sort of that ending is great for an intro into the play-by-play. Now, this is on the play-by-play, though, because he should immediately have picked this up. As soon as Axeman finishes talking, it's Tempered Fate into the bot lane. Astral Illusion in trouble. Bullet Time for Misfortune coming out. Barely ticks down. Astral Illusion falls again. It's a second kill now to Curious Veil. Barely timing that ultimate so perfectly. I'm a little confused as to why Panna's Bard decided to go towards the left-hand side of the lane because it's very hard to get an angle to then Q onto the turret and find the stun. Could have stayed on the right-hand side and stunned into the wall. But either way, fantastic play in the bottom lane and really a solid use of those ultimates because where was Groove Shark? Not around to protect the ADC. The timings, the back timings in the bot lane were mismatched, which means the support wasn't there to protect the ADC. ADC goes down with these ultimates. And again, also important because who had level 6s? The Misfortune is level 7. She's so far ahead. She's level 7 with Bard level 6, and you look on the other side, the Xayah couldn't ult because she didn't have ultimate. She's level 5. Leona's level 5 too, so she, even if she was in range, wouldn't have had the Solar Flare to drop as well. So this is just destruction. Just destruction. So.
By the way, Astral Illusion on that death, burned heal.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't. Neither of us were looking. I mean, that's totally fine.
Curious
Again, that's why I said Axeman that it wasn't really on you. That even though, as I said, it drug a little bit. That's not on you. That's on the play-by-play to just immediately pick up afterwards. You pick up where you dropped off and just go. That's totally okay.
Used no summoner spells. They're getting 2 plates. They're crashing 3 more waves into the turret. Now top lane, Donald Trump looking for 1v1 of his own. Jumps on top of Sync, uses the Gnar, forcing an unstoppable force. Mid lane, flashing back to mid lane, iTunes doing a ton of damage to Haley.
This is also not like the 3rd or even 4th time that the play-by-play and color are just desynced on timing. And again, I'm aware that the surprise plays do happen, so it will happen. So I'm not saying that it won't happen. What I'm saying is try to time, if you're realizing that basically a lot of these events are desynced pretty heavily, there is a pacing to League of Legends. Even if it's a fast-paced game, there is a pacing to it, and you can find that pacing. You can feel a little bit out when that next team fight's going to be. So maybe as a color caster, you go ahead and shorten up, clip a little bit of what it is that you're saying, let your play-by-play take over, because you can kind of tell that there might be something else coming up here in the near future. Just try to resync back to where play-by-play is doing most of the team fights and color is doing most of that downtime.
That Galio match we were talking about, she's almost going to drop to the Winds of War. Is that what it's called? I'll check quick. Yes, it was right.
Winds of War.
Almost dropping to the Winds of War from
Also, he didn't have to say that. As a play-by-play, is so say that you want to check Winds of War, right? Almost up into the Winds of War, and then you just stop, and then you let your color caster take over. And while they're talking, you mouse over and go, "What is it? Let me click on Galio. Let me get the Winds of War. Yes, I got. Ooh, feels so good. Yes, I got Winds of War right. You could do that. That's totally fine. You don't need to be on air. What was, I think it was, let me check real quick. It was, yes, I was right, Winds of War. And then continue. Because your point was that Haley barely made it out, but survived the Winds of War. So you already set your point.
iTunes, but not quite.
And now you're talking
top lane,
over
though,
top lane fight.
Undertaker Kid, finishing what Donald Trump started, finding the kill, finding the dive onto Sync.
Good energy, though.
He's saying Kane early game. What Kane early game? I don't need any of that, but does pick up the kill there for himself. We'll see how close this Kane is to transform.
I didn't get the Kane early game thing, but that's okay. I'm not listening to all the conversation, so I know that I'm missing some stuff.
Maybe not here. I'll keep working.
Wukong's got Rift Hair on the bottom lane. They're going to drop it. They're going to go for a dive. They're going to burst those turret plates, try to get gold back onto the Xayah.
I have to imagine he's getting
Holy damage! This misfortune.
No jokes, no gimmicks.
Bullet time auto. Bullet time auto basically just took the Xayah down to a quarter health. That's insane. That's so far ahead. I like her eyes. Okay. Oh, now we got a Bud Light seltzer. No alcohol. Oh, 5% alcohol. 5%? Is 5% large? I think it's like middle. No jokes, no gimmicks, just Mortal Kombat. It's not just me.
But melee champions are who he needs to be hitting to get that transformation, right? So
have a little alcohol as a
treat.
treat.
He needs Sync, he needs Death Boy, or
I don't mind trying weird alcoholic beverages, but I only ever drink
want
one.
To go Shadow Assassin with the meta where it is.
Never been drunk.
Rost
no
really
need.
is almost always just a stronger Kane, and this game is not going to be an exception to that rule.
Yeah, for sure. If my Kane's going Shadow Assassin, I'm going to need a 10-page summary of why they're doing so, right? They don't have a really good reason to do so, but made it look pretty easy on that one. Groove Shark might be looking for some retribution.
Death Boy is looking. Solar Flare on the Curious Veil, followed up instantly by...
Okay, so this is another area, Axeman, in which a team fight is happening, and you know that a team fight's happening once the Solar Flare goes down. So you did okay. Let's listen to it really quickly.
Astro Illusion taken down again.
Oh, I missed that because I skipped right past it.
Veil had to use ult this time, but made it look pretty easy on that one. Groove Shark might be looking for some retribution.
Death Boy is looking.
Okay, so Groove Shark might be looking for some retribution, but most of it was fine. It's just speed it up just a hair and clip it. Groove Shark might be looking for retribution because a team fight's absolutely happening with that Solar Flare coming down. So you just leave it to your play-by-play. Just give it to your play-by-play. Just toss over. I don't know where the butt was going. Butts are nice, but, in this case, just leave them be. Totally good start. Little bit dragged, and then clip. Groove Shark looking for the retribution.
Solar Flare on the Curious Veil, followed up instantly by Pinna's Tempered Fate. That's not necessarily the target you want. Flash out from Curious Veil, using the heal as well. Cyclone not bringing enough damage from Death Boy. Groove Shark chugs so low to teleport from team. Shut down onto Death Boy.
Definitely could have been clearer.
Team Wood Forever just not quite catching the break they need. Curious Veil does die, but...
Okay, this is also where, again, play-by-plays do this all the time. You don't need to do the colors job.
Instantly by Pinna's Tempered Fate. That's not necessarily the target you want. Flash out from Curious Veil.
Didn't comment the Galio TPing in, but that's okay. This is also where, as a color, you can, while the play-by-play is going over, if he hasn't mentioned the fact that there's like a TP coming in, you can mention as the color, TP from mid, or something like this. Galio TP. Make a mention of it just to to hype it up even more. Like, oh my gosh, here comes another one. Even the pros do that a lot. They really try to set that up.
Cyclone not bringing enough damage from Death Boy. Groove Shark chugs so low to teleport from Toons. Shut down onto Death Boy.
And that's where it should end. Shut down onto Deathblade. And then it's done. You don't need to do any more. Just shut down Death Boy. There it is. Shut down onto Death Boy. And then the color takes over. And this is all color.
Team Wood Forever just
Freako, trust me. This is part of the reason why I do this is for myself. This is me preaching to the choir.
Yeah, iTunes.
This is me right now.
A kill Haley
better,
gets
Jake.
a little bit of free pushing. I think they picked up.
What are these
one
top laners
plating there,
doing?
but that's about
That's
it.
so cute.
A little bit of a CS. Little bit.
But this is commented on at all.
Team Wood Forever just not quite catching the break. They need Curious Veil does die, but it's traded back.
Yeah, iTunes teleport spot gets himself a kill. Haley gets a little bit of free pushing. I think they picked up one plating there, but that's about it. A little bit of a CS.
There's no even mention of this whatsoever.
Wow, solo kill on
Okay,
up in the top lane.
way after
And,
the fight's already
Rambo
over.
Fest, by the way.
Yeah,
Like that was
about
actually a
it.
really good 1v1.
Tunes,
Like
shut down.
I don't mean to be
Boy.
salty,
Page-
but
Team Wood Forever just not
I
quite
gotta
catching the
wrap
break.
this
They
up
need
here because
Curious
we're
Veil
already
does die,
almost at that hour
but
mark.
It's traded
But
back.
Yeah.
Tunes,
okay, I'm sorry. I'm
down.
gonna do this one more time.
Death Boy. Team Wood Forever just not
All
quite
right,
catching
Donald
the break.
Trump
They need Curious
solo
Veil
in the
does
top
die,
lane, sync
but it's
running
traded
away.
back.
But there's a minion wave coming
Yeah,
in.
iTunes,
Malphite might be in a
teleport
bit of
spot
trouble.
gets
There it
himself
is, a
a
third
kill.
proc from the
Haley
ultimate
gets a
out from the
little bit of
Malphite.
free
But
pushing.
Nor's got the
He picks up
Megadar.
one
He's got the
plating
slam
there, but
into the
that's
wall.
about
The
it.
stun.
A little bit of a
Synax
CS.
goes down. Despite having
CS
flash,
there.
there's
Oh,
no
wow,
chance to
solo kill on
escape
the
the
second one.
Megadar. You
And
know,
that
it's a good 1v1. This is what
Yeah,
highlight
I
reels
will
are made of, and there was
Yeah,
just
this
like
one
no
is a lot
casting
about
over
just
it.
kind of power windows. And windows and strength.
It's totally
the
okay.
easiest way is
Oh,
obviously
Galio
Sync,
going in.
right?
He's
But
got
also,
Nico locked
when
up.
Sync
Okay,
has,
just the taunt. The
unstoppable
winds of war
force
pushing
up
her
too,
back. Half
you
health
gotta
Haley
make sure
as
that
soon
you're
as she
playing
shows back up
as
mid
an
lane.
arm, but as soon as he uses it, it's almost like you have free license to just walk up and hit him, right?
Totally.
It's true, actually,
I wanna highlight
Frico.
also,
Very true.
Speaking of power spikes, top lane. Merc
When
Treads
Donald Trump
for
gets
Donald
angry,
Trump.
you don't want to be at his
early
bad
Merc
side.
Treads versus Magic Damage Champions.
All right, this is on the play-by-play. He should be interrupting himself right now to cast this incredible dive by Undertaker Kid. Again, this is where,
and hit
if
it,
you're watching
right?
a game, you can see
I
the
wanna highlight
setups.
also,
First of all, technically, you can see the setup right here. The energy is low. The energy is definitely on the lower side. And I think that's, again, because it comes down to investment. And there's a multi-tiered layer of investment. First of all, if you don't know the teams, you're not going to care too much about the teams. If you don't know the league, you're not going to care much about the teams or the game. If you know that it's going to be a best of 3, then game 1 is like, whatever, let's just get through game 1 because game 2 or game 3 is going to be more important than this one is. They're just playing this one out to see who wins the first game. If you don't know the teams, you don't know the league, you don't know what matters, it's the best of 3, and it's the very first game of a very long season, in theory, there's even less investment because what does it matter in the long run? Okay, so you get a 1 on one side or 1 on the other side. What does it matter? It's not like playoffs or anything crazy, right? Those are all reasons, in theory, to not really care about this game. But you can also flip all of those, like we've talked about. The fact that it's the first game setting a precedent for the entire season. Everyone knows that the amount of that when you lose games, you get tilted. And if you could start the game off with wins, it's less tilting, more confidence, feeling really good. Instead of not caring about the teams because you don't know the teams, care about the teams because you don't know the teams. I don't know what these teams have in store. I gotta see what it is. Who's gonna carry? Is it the ADCs or is it the junglers? I gotta know. I don't know these teams, so I wanna know who's gonna be the lead. You can flip almost all of these. It's a new league. I don't know what to expect in this league. This may be low elo, but they could be popping off like they're diamonds. It just depends on how well they can play their champions. We got some pretty power picks here, but we also got some pretty unique picks. Nico is not played heavily in low elo. Maybe this guy's a one-trick Nico. That's super cool. What can he do? Let's get some big AoE wombo combos in here. All that stuff. So, yes, color should be talking. That's what I'm saying. It's flipped back and forth. So, okay. So I was saying really quickly about this is that
playing back as an arm.
right here. All right. Look where my mouse is. There's a Kane in enemy team jungle with a
But as
Galio
soon as
right
he
next to
uses
him
it,
who
it's
just
almost
chunked
like
the
you
Nico
have
to
free
half
license
health.
to just
Right? He's
walk up
healed.
and hit him,
1,
right?
Totally.
2,
I want to
so-
highlight
3,
also,
4,
speaking of power spikes,
5.
top
Kind
lane,
of quickly.
Merc Treads
6.
for
Like, there's no, this is the most telegraphed from a spectator play ever. And I understand that talking about the Merc Treads on the Gnar could be really nice, but this is what's happening on the screen. For viewers, they don't really care about what's happening at top lane Merc Treads or not. And this is, how I said, it's more on the play-by-play than the color, because the play-by-play is the one talking right now. But we gotta dive here, ladies and gentlemen.
Donald Trump. Early Merc Treads versus Magic Damage Champions do so much work. Now mid lane, speaking of Magic Damage Champions, Haley forced a flash away from a dive, but it's not enough. iTunes finding
This
one
is
kill.
why you get desynced, though. This is why you get desynced. If you're not commentating as a play-by-play the fight, you end up coming in afterwards to do the analysis. When you're doing the analysis, right now should be the play-by-play because the color should be wrapping up commentating on the dive in the mid lane. And so it's coming into the play-by-play now talking about the Rift Herald push in the bottom lane. But the play-by-play is still talking right now, so he's just going to have to just roll right over.
The Herald has been popped, but so has Astrolution as the bullet time finds another victim for Curious Veil. Now shifting focus towards the Dragon. Undertaker Kid and iTunes starting up the second.
That's actually some pretty good prediction. That's actually some pretty good prediction there. I was not expecting them to immediately rotate to Dragon. Good job.
Black Blossom.
Good job, Rogue Panda!
Aquarius Veil might be killing Astro Illusion with bullet time on cooldown. Like, coming down.
All right, keep going.
They
get the Drake.
Is nothing.
Down. Astro Illusion gonna land this, just finding no pressure in this lane. I want to talk about the Herald that got dropped bot lane there, because Wood Forever dropped Herald.
You're going to have to interrupt your Herald talk to talk about this Tempered Fate. Stop talking. I know you want to talk about Herald, but don't talk about Herald. Talk about the play that they're going in right now to go in for another kill because they have their ultimates available. Well, at least Bard had his ultimate available. And they're just so strong they could just
They were trying to make the play. Now Tempered Fate coming out from Pinna. Gonna land this follow-up stun into Astro Illusion. Curious Veil not quite able to pick up that kill. Pinna gonna find it instead as Groove Shark goes in with the team play, trying to buy some time, trying to run away now, but it's far too little, too late. Another kill, the 5th kill for Curious Veil.
So overall, I don't think, I'm not trying to just harp on this, the casting at all, but the main thing is make a decision a little bit earlier and then commit to it a little bit earlier. So if a lot of the action, the play-by-play jumped in faster, the color stopped talking faster, any of those sorts of things would make it just a little bit sharper, because it feels like the commentators are almost talking on a 3-second or so lag, and usually in the past tense. Like if you just listen to how much is casted from a past tense perspective, this is what happened rather than this is what's happening right now. It would help.
The bot lane from Team Black Blossom is just massive at this point, right? I mean, the score line 5-2-3 on the Misfortune. We'll take a look at the gaps. Not 2 death gaps.
Come on, give me a Gnar quadra kill.
Low turret is
taking
Undertaker and Donald Trump more than likely to get this turret, although they might be betting off more than they could chew. Groove Shark and Deathboy are nearby.
Force out of that situation.
I want to listen to what the color finish.
Caster cursed you on that one, but you know what? I said it before, I'll say it again. You don't always got to get the kill, right? Sync. No teleport, no unstoppable force. Forced to recall. Herald has spawned. Undertaker and Donald Trump more than likely to get this turret.
Okay, this is fine. This is just a bad spot.
Deathboy are nearby with Astro Illusion to back them up. Donald Trump kind of.
I'm gonna say this. I will sometimes. This is a really niche thing. I will sometimes note, like, right? If I'm say that I'm the one who's play-by-play casting, this is fine. No unstoppable force. There's a Rift Herald up. So Donald Trump and Undertaker are coming up. Okay, right here is where I would be recognizing that Red Side has 3 people that are moving up to the top lane. There's no reason why they wouldn't start or at least attempt to start a fight unless Donald Trump and Undertaker leave immediately. But Undertaker and Trump don't have vision on those 3 members of Red Side moving up. So the likelihood that fight is going to happen is very high. So if I'm the play-by-play, I actually stop talking here purposefully. So I'll say, should grab this top lane turret, and then I'll stop talking. My color will come in for 1,
to get this turret, although they
2,
might be betting off more than they could chew.
3,
Groove Shark and Deathboy
4,
are nearby with Astro Illusion to back them up.
6, and now I can come back in. So it gives my color caster time to say whatever they want to say, or talk about whatever that they want to talk about. Yeah, they could rotate and grab a second Rift Herald, push the mid lane, grab that second turret as well, and start to snowball it a little bit more. And then I'm coming back in rather than me having talked for 3 minutes straight. So this is something for play-by-plays, is it, if you can tell a fight's coming up, maybe choose, instead of talking through to the fight, especially if the fight gets a little bit delayed, actually clip it pretty hard short so that the color has a chance to talk for a minute, and then you know that the fight's going to come in afterwards and you can start it up from there. Also, really, really important for play-by-plays, the reason why you do this, one of the reasons why you do this, is because before a team fight begins, you're gonna need oxygen. You're gonna need air. Imagine the team fight lasts for a good 2 minutes because crazy things are happening. The fight lasts for forever. If you've already been on a 2-minute spiel and you're already running out of oxygen because you've been talking for forever, and then you go into a 2-minute high action play-by-play, oh my gosh, all these things are happening, you're really gonna be running out of steam pretty fast. So if instead you take that pause, breathe, let your color caster talk for a second, and then now you're ready for that play-by-play, you'll come in with a lot more energy.
So he's going to go down.
Wukong ultimate.
Donald Trump drops so very
Donald
low by the
Trump
cycle
hopping
of
away.
Death, but
Galley
here's the
ultimate's
Donald
coming
Trump
in.
still barely alive as Astrolution flashes after trying to find the kill. Now a shutdown. Astrolution is going to pick up that one, but on the flip side of the fight, Justice Punch from iTunes is doing so much work, but not enough. A double kill for Astrolution. Gonna get traded back onto Undertaker. Trading double kills across the top side of the map here. iTunes
That's fine.
away to
I was
try
actually
to
listening in
save
that fight
himself
for
from the feathers
hold on.
as Astrolution is finding a little bit of
This is also where some of those team fights go a long time, not because the actual fight itself goes long, but there's multiple fights.
Bot lane inner turret, and they are getting another kill.
That was basically
onto
2 minutes
Sync,
of
who has
casting
now
there.
died 5 times this game.
So
Yeah,
real
no
quick,
such redemption arc for
compliments.
Sync, not yet anyway,
Compliments.
but yeah, double kill
Oh, thank you,
wasn't
Bandito.
expecting that.
Huge compliments to Rogue Panda for breathing. I don't really want to rewind it there because I'm already dragging this on way too long. But really big compliments in the middle of that play-by-play for taking breaths at really appropriate times. It's super awkward when a play-by-play caster is talking in the middle of something and then basically interrupts an entire sentence or phrase because you're used to in English-speaking terms, you're used to certain phrases going for a period of time because that's just how the English language works, and then it gets interrupted by this random breathing when it doesn't really make sense to, but instead he's actually finding solid points to finish his complete sentence or a complete thought, grab a quick breath, and then continue going, especially if he's able to highlight that by coming in with a big point. So it's not just finishing a point, but the double kill from this person as you finish up the fight. You're right, you end on that high point is super nice. So good credit to Rogue Panda for naturally breathing, especially in what was a very long team fight across the board. So, because it happened top lane and then went to bot lane.
You know, I think time will tell. I'm not really sure how much help Team Black
Okay,
lost.
real quick, just general catching up here is that this is one of those games that's a little bit annoying to cast. Todd, probably my least favorite game of all to cast, especially as a best of one or a best of 3 game number 1. It's really annoying to cast because 17-7 in kills. What are we at gold? I can't see because my webcam light is blinding me, but yeah, nearly 10,000 gold. It's basically 10,000 gold. It's 8,000 gold in the lead. You look at the Misfortune. The Xayah is gone from this game. I mean, just Astral, I love you. You're awesome. I'm sure you just had a really bad game. Just go ahead and DC, buddy, because you're so far out of this game. 2-6-1, 70 farm to the 150 of Misfortune, 6 kills up. The Xayah would need 25 minutes of pure farming, or the 3 of the most perfect engages for her team in which she got pentakills to have a chance at actually carrying this game. And when you look at Blue's side and you go, Malphite's not carrying this game because he's a tank. Leona's not carrying this game because she's a tank. Wukong could carry this game if he was like a Graves and hyper snowballed early and ran straight damage, but he's building a Phage and armor and armor boots. He's not going to carry this game. Nico might carry this game, but what is Nico? She's a poke champion. She's harassment from a long distance, and then she's an engage with her ultimate. She doesn't do a very good job of she's not a Cassidon who's gonna 1v5. She might 1v1 and win the 1v1. She might grab a single pick and then wait for cooldowns before maybe hoping to grab another pick. She's not a carry option. So your carry option was the Xayah, unless Wukong built damage, which he didn't. So red side's basically done. The game's in the bag for blue. In theory, just where the game state is currently at the moment, 17 minutes in, blue side, you win. You're moving on to game number 2. So from a casting perspective, it's really difficult to cast a game because you want to be hyping it up can red side come back? Oh my gosh, let's get this exciting and hyping because, oh my gosh, what can red side do? But at the same time, most of the team fights are just waffle stomps by blue side. They're crushing everything. So what can you do? Well, again, you're setting the stakes. So something that you can do is, instead of talking necessarily, you still want to give pointers to red side on what they might be able to do to come back, because you're going to always have hope. Always be positive. Always be positive. But you can also talk about the positive things the blue side has done. I mean, their support, Pinna, probably MVP of this game. I mean, crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. But you can also talk about, especially if it's best of 3, what's coming down the road. And now you don't want to, in the middle of broadcasting the game, be like, all right, this game's over with. Let's talk about game number 2. What you can say is, this has been an incredibly dominant performance by blue team since that 10-minute mark where bottom side just got crushed. And I'm really looking forward to seeing if Pinna can keep this up in future games. Maybe eventually somebody will decide to ban his Bard. I'm really looking forward, though, in game number 2, especially to see if this misfortune comes back, because Krios Vale crushing it and doing an amazing job. Obviously, use better terminology. I'm talking off the top of my head. But really want to see this bottom lane do just as good a job in game number 2, and see if red side punishes them in the pick and ban phase for game number 2. Any of those sorts of things, because again, you don't want to give up on a game, but you can still set things up for the future. So,
one kill onto Sync. Undertaker so very low.
Ooh!
Eventually
Ignite
gonna
ticks
get picked up. I'm not even sure what did it.
Ignite!
But getting that kill, I think, with an Ignite. Now a bullet
There
time
you go,
under
you got it.
turret. Stranglethorn's finding Curious Veil, forcing the flash from this misfortune.
That was
and now on.
that's super greedy. Blue side is being way too greedy right now. This is probably where the Gnar gets the quadra kill. But she went underneath second tier turret, threw the bullet time, and then burned flash to get out. This is just crazy. So get a 5v5. Let's cast. Do anything we talked about Monday for the lulz. Gnar quadra inbound. Yeah, there we go. Boom. One.
3, actually
Boom.
2, because one of them was
no,
the Wukong
it's not.
clone, but it doesn't really matter. That's 2 more kills going into the hands of Black Blossom, dominating again for iTunes. 6-0 on this Galio now as mid lane outer turret falls from Team Wood.
Not yet.
Mid lane inner now under siege. Only Groove Shark left to defend.
Yeah.
You could also start to make predictions as to when the game will be over.
Contest this dragon. No ult on Sync.
Okay, let's actually pause here real quickly. How can red team get back into this game? Stop being split up. Look at them right now. They got Xayah all alone top lane. I mean, maybe because she's farming. If Xayah's going to farm top lane, which is not the end of the world, it's good to give her farm, then you don't be trying to fight for dragon. You can't be fighting for dragon if you're Xayah is gonna be in top lane. You just can't. Whereas Nico, mid lane, farming. Well, you can't be fighting for dragon. Don't even worry about getting vision for dragon. Your ADC's top lane. Your damage AP mid lane is farming. Why are you even worried about getting vision for dragon? Just don't worry about it. Stop being split up. If you're gonna fight as 5. If you're going to pick, fight as 5. If you're not, don't even worry about it. Just protect the lanes and be careful. So, I muted the game.
To a shield of Durant taunt.
It's gotta be a 1-4 if she's farming. Yeah, it's
forcing a side step from Groove Shark, who has again.
But even 1-4, like they weren't 1-4 because they had Nico mid. But even 1-4, they just don't have the damage to fight. They just don't have the damage to fight. Galio's 6-0, right? Your only hope is for a pick. If they just left mid to go get dragon, are they gonna have a random straggler hanging around? Probably not. There's not really a reason to go chasing for anything.
But
so
we are seeing a lot of control words come through from.
That was a very.
That's just massive. I mean, iTunes hasn't died
Why?
yet. I'm not really sure what's happening, but we are seeing a lot of control words come through from Wood Forever, so maybe that's an indication.
Astral's tilted.
Oh, here we go.
Well, Unstoppable Force is up. Curious Veil, no flash. Uses the heal.
Great
not
transition.
Quite good enough, but you know what is good enough is the
Here he goes, not the strongest, but it's very adequate.
iTunes
Very
godlike
adequate.
as
Here we
Haley
go.
falls. Groove Shark and Astro Illusion now running
And then
for their
play-by-play
lives,
takes over.
forcing iTunes to kite back a big cyclone, but is it big enough? Donald Trump is now here, and he's mega. A nice stun onto
1,
Astro Illusion,
2,
onto Death
3.
Boy. Means that Team Wood Forever are route to the double kill for Curious Veil.
It's a
4
quadra
for nothing.
kill, but
iTunes
not for
now
Donald Trump.
8-0 on this Galio. This
Picking up that too, so
For Undertaker.
They might have been able to finish the game off. We're only 20 minutes in. Respawn timer's pretty low.
Forever can maybe get back into the game. A little bit of over-aggression from Black Blossom. The Baron is free. You have bot lane inhibitor. Play it slow.
Hey!
Right? Get vision and Team
Nice.
Jungle. You don't have to force a fight here. I think Black
Nice.
Blossom probably still can. Undertaker
Talking
is
about
strong.
Red Side's
He's got
options.
Ross
Play it
8
slow.
on iTunes, but the Hero's
Nice.
entrance not yet available. It looks like we
Good,
are
good,
going
good.
to see potentially
Talking about the fact that
an
Baron
NA
is
ramp
up and
come out
over-aggression
here
for
with a
blue side. We
12K
saw it
gold
already
lead
once
for Black
before.
Blossom, 21 minutes in.
They can
Bot
get a
lane
little
minions
bit too
are
hype.
forcing
They can
Astro
dive a
Vision
little bit too
away
deep.
from the fight as the mid lane
This is pretty
inhibitor
difficult to
available
do,
just
but-
yet. Cyclone is down. Unstoppable Force only just now coming available as the rest of Black
But
Blossom
they didn't
now
die.
looking topside. They want everything.
They didn't
Axeman.
die. Now's the time to
Yeah,
fight.
and I don't think
You got one more fight in you, Red Side.
Anyone's going to be able to stop them from getting it. They have to wait on minions again, but that's pretty much
yeah,
the
Zay's
only
clearing
thing
the base.
limiting them
That's
from
fair.
taking the startup is Baron.
Appreciate this, Baron.
All right.
As
This is where... Oh, but muted it. Weird.
widening the gold gap even more
You
here.
could have, if your
Yeah,
Red
that's
Side,
like
called for the Hail
15K.
Mary.
Baymax
The
is, like,
Hail Mary
just
would have been to send
massive,
Wukong
but,
to try to
next
steal the
dragon's
Baron.
gonna be up a little
That's
over in a minute.
a
That's
Hail
gonna be
Mary,
Ocean
and I think
Soul,
that's actually a Hail Mary
14 Black
worthwhile
Blossom.
because otherwise, if they get the
Yeah,
Baron,
I
it's
think
over.
maybe
So
you wait to pick that up, but at this
They're
point,
unstoppable.
It doesn't really matter.
Stops.
They're just, like,
It's true,
wildly
actually.
ahead, right?
Um,
So it kind of a matter of preference. At this
the
point, whether
if
they
you're
wait for
I'm
Dragon
just
to come
talking
up,
analysis
but
point
we'll
wise.
see
Like if
what
I was
they
the
do.
coach, I
Yeah,
would
Ocean
have said to
Soul,
Wukong
Amen,
go
top
for the
lane,
Hail Mary
GG,
to steal
right?
the Baron because
something like
now
that.
that they've got the
Thorns,
Baron, there's
They did
basically
ju-
no way
just
for them
use
to
one of their key
win this
ultimate
game.
abilities, so they might actually find struggle here. But a teleport from Sync is going to get canceled as the first turret falls. This could be it. Feather Storm
Nice bullet
from
time.
Astro Illusion trying to find some semblance of clear. A
Good
big Cyclone
ultimate
at the four,
from
nice unstoppable
Malphite.
force. Is it going to be enough? Curious Veil is still alive, flashed out, doing a lot of damage.
Rogue
iTunes
does a
on
lot of will it be enough? I do that myself. It's one of those
team-
bit weaker phrases when you aren't really sure what's going to happen next. You're kind of sort of trying to do predictive casting because you want to know whether or not the play is a really good play. It gets the quadra kill, but at the same time, you don't actually know. So it's a bit weak to say things like there's a lot of phrases that are very similar to is it enough? Will it be enough? Can he do it? Any of those sorts of phrases are weak phrases. It's better just to cast what's actually happening. Better just to say this is what happened. Big ultimate by Malphite, or big unstoppable force by Malphite knocks up 3, and then just go on to someone else who's doing something. You know, it's just talk about the fact that Misfortune's ultimate was canceled by the Malphite ultimate, bullet time canceled by the unstoppable force, any of that sort of stuff. So, production, give them the one. Black Blossom, give them one right now.
They didn't have
Go right
pressure
now.
from
Do it.
anywhere.
One.
Black Blossom-
Yeah, they did it.
Innate pressure well.
Good production.
It also to me felt a little bit like
I'm always late
sort
with
of
that when I'm doing production.
outclassing, especially
Always late.
bot lane. You know,
Listen to a little bit of
Misfortune
this for
and
just a
Bard
minute,
are
and then we'll call it
supposed to
quits.
win that lane, but
I
don't
turned a
think they're supposed to win
37-minute
that
video
much.
into an hour and a half
It's
analysis.
ridiculous.
Yes.
Curious
Hey, it's
Veil
faster than the
and
2.5 hours I spent last time, right,
overwhelming
Axeman?
performance
Right,
From
Axeman?
the bot lane duo from Black Blossom.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no lane that.
Oh, Freako, they just rotated. They rotated from
meta
bottom to mid. They grabbed bottom
that
inhibitor,
was
mid
a
inhibitor,
rough
backed,
bot lane. Other
bottom
places,
inhibitor,
I
mid
feel like
inhibitor,
the
Baron
Sync
back.
probably could have done a little bit better. That Gnar matchup was pretty rough for Malphite, but there was a couple times, like when the unstoppable force dive, where he just kind of ulted the Gnar and then went 1-for-1. It was kind of like I'm not sure if that was worth it, you know. But overall, very well played by TVB for sure.
All right, so that was only game number 1. This is a best of 3. That has not changed. So we are going to be moving into a quick break in the next few minutes here, but we will return. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have game 2 of Team Black Blossom versus Team Wood Forever. And again, this is the first best of 3 of Style Esports Season 3. Both these teams new to the league. They got something to prove. I cannot imagine Wood Forever are going to go down.
There we
without
go.
swinging.
Finally
Don't
got
go
some
anywhere.
analysis.
We will be right back.
Cool. Okay, I would just throw in, pick some bands for game number 2. Talk about what you want to see. Talk about what you don't want to see. Oh boy, that Xayah did not work out for Forever Wood. That Xayah did nothing in the bottom lane, constantly dead. or Forever Wood probably going to need to ban away that Bard. It's just way too strong in that player's hands. Or dominant performance by TBB, very clean job. I'm really excited to see what they pick in this next phase, if they roll the same type of composition, or if they're forced to pick something new because Forever Wood take some of these champions away. I'm really curious to see if Forever Wood gives them the same champions. Maybe this is just an off game for them. They needed that initial warm-up game, etc., etc. And then set the stakes. Set the stakes. This is the game, the first series in our Style Esports league season. That's the word I was looking for. This is the first best of 3 for the Style Esports season, and TBP now is looking to be one game away from being the first team to actually secure a solid win in this series. I just had a monitor completely turn black. Hello, why did you fall? Oh, maybe it fell asleep? I don't know. That was weird. First team to solidly get a lead ahead of all the other teams. Forever Wood, they are going to have to already start a comeback and try to reverse sweep this series if they want a chance at coming out with a victory in this round of week 1. Just something to set that stakes up and say, here's that story. Overall, this team now is going to need to do that reverse sweep. But the reason why is because if a random viewer who knows nothing about this game is watching the game and they get to the end here and the game ends with a, yep, they did a good job. All right, yep, we'll be right back after this break. Then the viewer has no real investment to come back. They just saw TBB crush, and that was it. And so they're like, TBB crush is going to crush again. And maybe they will, but whatever. I'll go watch something else. But if instead you help guide their interest into why they should come back for game number 2, well, both these teams are new to the league. We may not have seen everything that Forever Wood has to offer. Now they're going to have to come back being down a game and try this reverse sweep, but maybe they have something in the bag that we haven't seen yet. We're right back after this break and see if they have the spice to turn this series around. Something along those lines that catches that listener's attention and goes, oh, wait. Oh, you know what? Maybe I will stick around to see if they can get the reverse sweep. You know what? Fine. I'll stay. You got me. I'll stick around for the reverse sweep. Let's see it. It's just something along those lines. So that's all right. Your monitor hackers you. Freako wants to play League. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream here because this is going to go as a VOD onto YouTube for future listening, and so the Axeman or Rogue Panda can get the whole thing. Thank you, Axeman, for hanging around. It's super awesome to catch you. I wouldn't even mention the reverse sweep until they tie things at 1-1. This is a caster preference, and here's the reason why, for me personally, I do mention things like the reverse sweep, even though it's unlikely. It's also practice for me as a caster to talk about things like reverse sweeps, and as I said, it kind of sets up for the viewer interest and reason why they should come back for game number 2. Because the thing, if you are being paid by a company to cast their games, your job is to sell entertainment to the viewer so that they want to watch, and your job for the company that's paying you to do this is to buy them viewer time. Your broadcast is in direct proportion to, value-wise, to how many and how long you can keep viewers' attention. So it's kind of like being a salesperson in a not as scummy way, but your job is to keep your viewers entertained for as long as possible for your buyer, the company who's paying you, to get their value out of your casting. And so the longer that you can do that, the better. And so, maybe it's not the best, especially when TVB probably just smashed game number 2, whatever. But if it kept a couple of people sticking around, why not?